Hi everybody, I hope you're all okay. I've got myself and Elizabeth here today. Today we thought it's Friday, we've got that Friday feeling and ready for the weekend, but we wanted to use up some of our stash that we've collected over the past year, because it's only just been a year that me and Elizabeth have worked here.
It's a year today since we started the job.
Yes, exactly. So we thought let's use up some stuff that we've collected from the very beginning and bits that we've built up along the way, and we're going to make some really nice, interesting, different projects. And it's using all bits that you've seen before but in a different way, and also we're just having a bit of fun. We've prepped our sort of demonstration for you independently, so we don't exactly know what each other's making this time. So I'm intrigued to see what Elizabeth's going to be coming up with.
And I can't wait to see what you've done because it looks really, really exciting.
Yes, you might start to recognise it fairly shortly, but we've done something that we thought, let's just have a nice relaxing session and enjoy what we're doing. So I don't know what you're starting with, Elizabeth, but
I'm going to be starting with some paints, I think, and some crackle effects, and watch you do it on the show, so I thought I want to have a go myself. I am going to be answering questions as well. I have got everything set up, so if you do find that you need help or advice or anything along the way, do drop it in the comment section and I'll ask them for you.
Brilliant, yes. So anything you'd like to know, always give us a shout. So last week we had the Imagination Crafts MDF show on, and I'm sure you may recognise this, but this is what I'm going to be working with today. So you can still get this and the decorative box on the creatingcraft.com website, so do go there to check that one out. And there is other MDFs from Imagination Crafts as well that we've got, and they're so versatile, you can do so much with them. And I've chosen to do this one because I think it's so appropriate for this time of year that you will actually be able to create a ribbon holder to wrap your presents. You can use it in the shed for all your gardening string, and I'm actually going to be using this one at Christmas. I'm going to upload photos of me using it to wrap my presents, and I hope you do as well, because
I think I'm going to be doing that. When you said it, I thought that's such a good idea to keep all your ribbons together, you know, the nightmare that you have when they all unravel.
Yeah, I think we've got like a chocolate box under the bed, and it's got all different ribbons and ties and strings, and every year we're like, why do we do this? Why don't we have an organised system?
This would be such a good idea.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So it's been designed purely for that. It's so easy to put together. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So we'll get started.
And today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. So I'm going to be doing a mixed media canvas. So this has got all different techniques on it. I've got like a panelled section here. So we've got sort of like that old fence sort of look, but a modern take to it, and we're going to be putting stencils along the top. But I am going to show you how I've created each panel on here, just on a sample board, and then I'm going to add some stenciling onto the top of this one. So this one's using that special effects technique, using the wood effect and the crackle glaze. So if you're a bit unsure, or if you need any clarification, just ask me on the comments and I will get to go.
So what I'm doing here is I've taken a Imagination Crafts stencil, and this is from our Simple Chic. It is Simple Chic, isn't it, this one? Yes, I absolutely loved using these ones. This is the Damask stencil. So you've got really nice ornate patterns in here. It goes on to, you could create your own wallpaper decoration with this, all sorts of different surface pattern. So what I'm actually doing is taking the back piece of the MDF ribbon holder, and I'm going to be masking off areas of the stencil that I don't want the paste to come through. So using your Imagination mixed media tape, which is on the Create and Craft website as well, it's perfect for all your mixed media projects. And once you've used it, you don't have to bin it, it's reusable, so you can keep working with it after your projects.
I love the fact that that tape's reusable, because we use like loads of little bits from our stencils. You can just peel it off, we stick it on the table, we share stuff, don't we?
Exactly.
The tape scraps. And
precisely, and because with mixed media, you're working a lot with different mediums and papers and glues and rice papers, it doesn't ruin your work. I found that with some tapes, as you peel it off, it can either peel that first layer of paint, or the area you masked, you've left a horrible residue, and it keeps it clean, doesn't it? Yeah. It's really good for that, and you get 2 rolls in a pack as well, so I think they're about 50 metres.
Oh, then I don't think you get loads. Full one,
No, it is really good, and it goes such a long way because you can keep going with it.
So to achieve the wood grain section on this canvas here, I'm combining the Extender by Cadence. So this is it's like a watery liquid, and it extends the working time you've got with the paint. So this makes your paint last longer, it gives you more working time, so the drying time is increased. And then I'm going to be mixing that with the hybrid acrylic in taffy. So I'm just going to take a little bit out and mix it together and do an even coating on here, and then show you how to do the wood grain technique.
So I've almost done masking off this area now, and I've chosen, and one reason why actually, I'll start from the beginning, why I chose this stencil, because it fits the actual background perfectly. So it's giving us a really nice pattern, but it's super easy to work with because a lot of the work's taken out for me. I don't have to take my stencil off and repeat it or anything like that. it fits just on there. And all these pieces of tape I'm going to be keeping for later on in the demonstration because I can keep going with it. And one thing when you're working with your MDFs, if you're ever painting any of the surfaces, always mask off using the tape any of the tabs that insert to other areas of the MDF because you want to allow it to still be able to smoothly slot together. So it's really important just to always make sure which areas you're masking off. Let's have a look.
So when we're doing the wood graining technique, we need to make sure that we've primed the back surface. So I've just put a black hybrid acrylic onto here, but if I was to do it onto the canvas, the paint would just be straight into absorbed in and we wouldn't be able to get that wood grain technique. And also you need to make sure that we have got two contrasting colours, so I've got the cream and the black, so you'll be able to see that grain through it really well. So all I'm going to do is just a quick coat. Water. So the paint just needs to be a little bit thinner, just so you've got that movability with it. So it doesn't have to be neat. There we go. And then we've got the Cadence wood graining tool, and it's got full of little semicircles. And then on this side, I've got a different texture technique as well. So all I'm going to do is place the semicircles. The smallest one goes face down onto your canvas, and all we're going to do is rock it backwards and forwards.
That is
so
amazing.
One easy technique. It's really good, isn't it?
Every single time we do it, and I think I must have done it over 100 times now.
Oh,
But we have like a little giggle every time we do it, don't we? Because it's just instantly
exciting.
creates that effect.
You can see I've gone over that, and it's still exactly the same. If you do it and you're not happy with where you put the grain in, you can keep going over it, and that's what the extender does. It gives you more working time with your paints and your products. Whereas the hybrids, acrylics, they do dry really fast if you're wanting to do the wood grain.
Yeah.
Don't like.
It's the beauty of the product. It dries
Yeah.
quick, which you want it to do. But for some projects, you might want it to last
Just
a
a
bit
little
longer.
bit more working
Yeah.
time.
So what I'm doing is I'm taking the Dora Perla Cadence Relief Paste. Now this has got loads of crushed granules in it, so it's really textured and it's going to give us a really nice raised surface. So I'm going to drag it through my stencil. I'm going to apply it a bit, but what you did miss me doing is I actually have used the Cadence stencil spray on the back of my stencil. That's going to give us a nice adhesion, so I know I'm not going to get any bleed, nothing's going to seep through, and it's going to stay exactly where I've put it. So I'm taking the paste on the back of my palette knife, and you can stencil with stipple brushes or sponges, but when using a paste as thick as this, I find it's much easier to work with a palette knife, and also it doesn't soak up into the actual applicator that you're using. It means that you've got more product to work with, which I think is a win every time. So you can probably hear how gritty it is as I'm scraping down. That's going to give us all that texture in there.
I think that's one of my favourite relief paste, that one, just to get
Yeah.
that texture and that grit, like what you've got in the crystal relief paste, just
Yeah.
give that texture. It's really great. And you've got the metallic in there as well.
Yeah, it's really nice. The actual colour shade of this one, so it's gold, this one, and we do quite a few other shades. We do a really nice like aubergine dark colour, don't we?
Yeah,
Really
really,
deep
yeah.
purple. It's lovely.
So all I've done with this next step is I've prepped this side of the canvas with the crackle glaze. So this does take quite a while to dry, so I've painted that and I'll just leave it to set for about 2 or 3 hours. Is that how long you leave yours to set?
Yeah, about 2 to 3 hours. It's been on room temperature. It can
Yeah.
go quite quickly, can't it?
Yeah. So again, you need to make sure that the colours you're using, you need 2 different contrasting colours so you can see that crack that's going to come through. So you've got the black down, and then we've put the crackle glaze, and then I'm going to go over the top with the turquoise hybrid acrylic. So I've already loaded up my paintbrush. Now you want the consistency of this paint to have a little bit of movability with it, just so it doesn't set so fast, so you've got working time with it, because you can't go over the paint because we need that crackle to come through. So what I'm going to do, drag it down, drag it down. So what's going to happen when it's drying is you can see it cracking as it's setting.
I love that. That is
When watching it
amazing.
crack, it's really satisfying, isn't it?
Instantly crackling. Did everyone get that? It's just, oh, it's so amazing.
You can see that.
I've seen nail varnish before where
Yeah,
it crackles,
exactly.
and I've never actually thought you could do a big surface area like that with it. And you could do that onto glass and everything,
Oh, it's
couldn't you?
really quick and easy just to get that effect.
So I've done my stencil. I've started to peel my tape off because I'm going to save all of that. And what you want to do with any of your stencils, if you're not washing them straight away, do what I'm doing and sit them in some water. It doesn't have to have any soap or anything like that, but it's going to make sure that it doesn't dry on there. So as we peel that away, we're left with a really nice relief stencil on there. And as this dries, you can dry it with a heat tool if you want to, or a hairdryer, or let it dry on its own. It'll probably take about 20 minutes, and you can actually see the texture in there. It's raised by about 3mm off the surface, so it is really thick. So I'm going to sit this in water and take my tapes off there because we want to save those. I'm going to hang them on the third of my desk, and I'm going to move on to the stuff I'm going to do next. I do love that.
Yes, let's try that.
I'm stood on all the cables, trapping all the wires. So I'm going to sit this to one side. Let's have a look. So, with your MDF pieces, with your tape, all of these inserts you want to mask those off as you're painting them because they're what's going to slot inside the other pieces of MDF. And you want it to be a snug fit as they've been cut just so that they fit nice and firmly together, so once you've glued it, it's not going to come apart. So taking your tape, you just want to go around all the edges and using bits that we've saved, tape those up. Here we are. And one thing I love about these MDFs is there's no priming needed, there's no prep that you need to do, it's all finished and cut for you, so you don't have to sand them down. You don't have to put any sort of base on there. If you're applying rice papers, it's a really good tip to put white gesso on first because it brings a pop of colour through. But I'm taking my Cadence Hybrid Acrylic in the shade New Mocha, so it's a really nice. It definitely is your favourite colour. I don't know how many bottles we've got through of this colour with you, but it is really, really
It's like my
nice.
go-to colour, isn't it?
It's like a muted pink colour, but it's quite natural, so it works with a lot of other colours. And because it's a hybrid, one of the hybrid acrylic ranges, you can just go straight onto the MDF, and it's only going to need one coat as well. And I've only used that little bit from the bottle with my cut and use sponge, and it's covering all of that surface. So again, you can use whatever tool to apply this paint. You can use it and you can watercolour with it, but you can just get such a thick pigment with it in one go. So easy. Here we are.
So next, all I've done is I've just removed the tape because I wanted to get that wood graining panel. So this was just to show you the technique, so I would have measured that out better, but that's just the width of the tape. So next I'm going to be adding that really distressed and aged and old look. So I'm going to be using the Cadence Distress Paste. I think this is in Antique Maroon, which is one of our favourite colours, this one. You can see how well loved it is.
I'm just going to quickly blast this, I do apologise.
So I'm just using the Cadence cut and use sponge, and I use it in the top of my lid as like a little palette. Just to get that evenly spread all over the little sponge. And all I'm going to do is just lightly buff it into the edges. You can see instantly how it gives that old like teeth. And then drag it down the sides where the wood panel would give that shade. And then you can take it over it a little bit. It can be as messy or as crisp as you like it, and then doing it with the blue as well. I really like the colours, how the blue goes with the brown and how it goes with the taffy, just so you get that really contrast.
It is really nice. And you can just...
I've got paint everywhere. Covered in it.
I don't know when you're not covered in paint, it's not really much of a change.
No, I'm quite a mess.
You know, we've got so many different... Everyone's a different type of crafter. You can mix media, paper craft, like this. You could do strokes, or you
It's nice
can
to have
dab.
that texture though, isn't it, when you do the stippling motion?
Yeah, it does give a really nice texture. I like it.
I like the contrast to get as well with the matte and the metallic.
Yeah, it is really nice.
So that's the two techniques that I've done onto the board. I have measured them out. So on here, I've left 1/2 centimetre down the middle, just for your little slits on there. And then I've just added some waxes to the corners. You can keep going with this, maybe some shaking gilt on there as well, just to add a little bit of glitz to it, just so when it catches the light it shines. You can keep going and adding all those rough textures on there, maybe some structure paste or some rusty patinas, just so you can really get that wood-like texture. So next I'm going to be adding, is this Country Living stencil, this one?
That one is Country Living,
Yes.
that's our Queen Bee Country
Yes.
Living stencil.
It's one of my favourite stencils, this one.
Well, I think, did you say that about every single project?
I think everyone's
this
that
Malibu
bit.
is the
You get like a
favourite.
new favourite every time something new comes out, don't you?
Of course. Where's my other one? Let's have a look. What else have we
Are you
got?
getting up?
Not bad, not bad. I'm just figuring out what I want to do next. I think I'm going to mop that area, put that in water because I only had a tiny little blob left. And I'm actually going to clean my glass mat. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
I'm cleaning up after I've worked. So what I've done is I've not actually showed you yet, is I've got my stripey effect.
Oh, I love
Let me show you the other ones that are dry. So we've got our two stripey effects now, which looks really nice because we've got that mocha colour coming through, and the silver just gives a really nice contrast against it. And when it shines against the light, it's going to look so nice. And it's all year round this, so I'm going to use this for Christmas, but you could use it whenever, wrapping your presents. It's perfect.
So we've had some people say hi. So we've had Lynn say hi. So hi, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn.
And we've had my mum. She's watching with us as well. So hi, mum.
Hi, Jill. Thank you for joining us. She is a trooper. She's
a
always
number
watching.
one fan.
She really is. Can count on her. Bless her. So what I'm doing here is actually sticking my MDF together now. So you'll see we've got our stencil on the side, and I'm putting the slots into each other. And I'm just checking it first to see it all fits the way I want it to. And the best thing to do to actually stick this together is using your Cadence Magic Fix glue. You can get this as well on the Create and Craft website. So if you go there, you can check this out. It works on MDF, cardstock, construction board, all those mediums that you work with. So it's a glue really for all over craft. You don't need loads of different bottles for different things. So it's definitely worth it for one glue. I use it all the time. It is brilliant.
It's like a universal around glue, isn't it?
Exactly. So I'm applying it to all the inserts of my MDF. Here we are.
So all I've done is applied the Cadence stencil spray. I put the Queen Bee stencil over the top, just measured to make sure that it's equal at the top and at the bottom. And I'm going to be using a Shabby Chic Relief Paste in the shade Linen. So I'm going to put that on there, and then I'm going to distress that as back as well. I've picked contrasting colours, so I really want it to pop against the blue and the brown background on there. So hopefully it should look nice. I've never tried this one before, so hopefully it should
What
look
is it?
I've done this technique with like the wood
Oh.
graining stencil.
We're doing something new.
We're doing something new.
I always get excited to try something new. Usually you discover the technique and then I go on to use it. We're always finding new ways of using products, which I think is great.
I think we learn a lot off each other, don't we? Because the way you
Yeah.
do things is different to the way I do things.
Definitely.
So you learn the technique first, and then I usually try and have a go at it.
So I'm just adding the Cadence glue to the surface of every area I want to be met to at least of MDF to actually meet. That way it's going to stick really nicely. And it's a water-based glue as well, it's non-toxic, and if you get it anywhere on the surface you're working on, you can use soapy water to get rid of it, and it'll come away really easily.
Oh, that looks looking great now.
I hope so. I quite like the effect so far. I think I'm just loving that stencil with that paste through it. It just looks so nice. Here we go. It slots together really nicely. Want to just line it up. There we go. You can see I've stenciled a little bit over there, so it will just slot in nicely. And as well, using your imagination tape, bits you've got left over, hold it together as it dries, because it takes about 10 minutes for the glue to fully go off, but it'll go tacky within about a minute or so. If you put that on there, it'll just hold it in place, and you know it's then not going to pop out each time you move it. You can still actually work on your project. Here we are.
There we go. I've done the stencil now.
So that's all coming to life. And what I've actually done is taken the Cadence 1 minute mirror spray, which is incredible, and I've sprayed it outside because it's always best to do that in a well ventilated area. But I've put it on some acetate, and that way we're going to actually get a mirrored effect that's going to go on the base and start to cover our wood. I love that. I think that's really nice. I'm going to be taking this home tonight and using it. I do really like that.
Oh, that looks lovely.
So I'm going to put some glue in it, and I'm just going to put a little bead of glue in each corner to hold this in. You could spray mount it, or you could use some of your tacky tape, anything you want to use.
So I've completely covered the stencil with the relief paste. I love the relief paste, that creamy texture you can just get through. So it gives like a creamy texture on the top, but it's going to give you that 3D raise when you take the stencil off. I love this part, taking the stencil off.
The reveal. Would you like me to keep your stencil?
Yes.
Do you want me to put it in there for you? There we are.
And you can see, look. How nice is that? Look at that.
Oh wow, that looks
Nice,
really
isn't it?
nice. I do like that. Do you know what that would look good as? Is you could do if you put a clock face in it and you'd have a little
Yes.
clock. That would look
That would look
really
good.
nice.
I love that.
I'm gonna set this to one side to find some
It
space.
would be annoying and put the drawing.
So I'm actually going to start to assemble the drawer now. So what I've done is I've painted all my pieces ready. And what you can do is stencil onto them, you can rice paper them, whatever you want to do. But if I take my Moroccan stencil from Simple Sheet, I'm going to give a little bit of spray. Just like that. Then I can do both at once, so it's much quicker and easier.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Exactly, and you're not actually washing your stencils all the time because you can just do it all at once. It's good, isn't it? Are you done now?
I'm getting there.
I thought you were done then. I'm going to have to speed up again. So here we go. I'm going to take my Cadence Silver and the Hybrid Metallic and go all over the surface again.
I enjoy watching you crafting though, because I don't know things like it.
That's not true. You know more than me. With your painting techniques. I think I'm always.
This is very
watching
much
you.
my thing, like creating the textures though, and like, I really enjoy
Yeah.
spending time faffing making textures and
Yeah,
I just love it.
it is your thing.
Yeah. I'll just have a little go. I need this to be dry, so I need to put this on the tip.
So with your pastes and stuff, you can leave them to dry, as Elizabeth's doing with the heat gun. You can just speed it up a little bit. It's not going to affect your paste, it's not going to ruin its texture. Because they're all water-based products, you're not going to have any chemical reaction in there or anything that's going to react with the heat. So as I take this away, we're left with a really nice stencil. And that looks lovely in the silver. It's really pretty. So we've got our two sides there, stenciled and ready to be stuck together. So I'm going to get on with it and actually construct the drawer.
I hope this is dry because I don't want to. I'm quite an impatient crafter. I like
Yeah.
things to be dry.
I end up smudging things. That's why I do like a lot of these products because they are so fast drying. So I'm adding my Cadence glue again to all the edges. Here we are.
There we go. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in with the Distress Paste because I just want to knock this back a little bit just so we've got that aged texture on. And I'm just going to go over it really lightly. Just to knock that back a bit, just so we've got that really aged look. And what it's doing is, because the relief paste has got a little bit of a raised texture on there, it's just picking up lighter in the dark areas.
Well, that does look really nice.
Just knock it
It
back,
catches
doesn't
all
it?
the surface, doesn't it? I do like that. I'm using my tape again, sticking all of my MDF together, holding it in place. And I've done the base as well, so I've stenciled that, it's all ready to go. I'm going to go around with my glue just on the surfaces that the drawer and the MDF will meet. Really easy to use, and the nozzle on this as well actually allows you to create the tiniest pinpoint of glue, so you can use it when you're doing all your delicate little dies on cards and things, and on your mixed media.
You know what, a bit of that has smudged, but I don't even mind because it's added to that.
Oh yeah, it does
texture.
look really nice.
I actually really like that it's smudged. So that is the finished result, and I'm really happy with that. I think that looks great. I think this is going to be going up on the desk outside.
I think it is. I think we're
Yeah,
going to have to turn it into a clock maybe at some point
Yes.
as well. I do love that. It is really pretty. So I'm almost there. Elizabeth beat me. But I do love the outcome. I think it's great. So I'm going to stick the drawer front on here. Just on the top. Do you want me to give you some? Do you want to finish the MDF box off?
No.
Do you want to give it? Yep. Right. So there's the ribbon holder, and it just wants the base slotted in that way. See, I've got a helper. Working together.
We work together quite a lot, don't we?
In fact, I've stuck that in that way round. I want it that way. There we are.
Hope I haven't got paint on it.
We can always work with it, it'll be fine. There we go. So I've taken some mirrored acetate again, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue just to the surface of my MDF. Just in little dotted areas. I can stick this now over the front, so I'm going to get a mirrored effect. Sort of like that glass mirrored furniture you see. It's really expensive, but you can create it such an easy way. Oops, I'm waiting for my glue to dry. And we've now got a really pretty drawer. So we're ready to go?
Right in.
Do you want a hand? We all sorted? Here we are.
I'm really conscious of it. We're nearly in.
Squeeze it together. There we are. So then the drawer will go in there really nicely. I'm going to paint the edges, but just to show you, we've got our drawer all set in there. And obviously then you've got your ribbon holders, so you can take your actual, the little holders and put the wooden strips in there, and that's what will hold your ribbon in place. So taking a bit of that glue again, just on the edge of those, and popping it. I painted these pink as well as the stripes in there, so it all goes together. I'm going to put another one, let's see, same about height just there.
The front of that drawer looks amazing.
It's nice, isn't it?
Glass
It actually
drawer,
looks
yeah.
like glass. So we're going to move that one up just a little bit. There we are. And you can paint those whatever colour you want to, or you can wrap them in your ribbons, and you've got an actual ribbon holder. Yeah, you can wrap string around those. But I really like that. I think they're really pretty. Oh, I'm sure my glue is not. My glue is. I was too quick. There we are. We're going to leave it in there. I'm going to leave it to dry because otherwise I'm going to break it.
Yes.
I want it to dry, but I'm really happy with that.
Yes.
I love the outcome. Yours is lovely. I feel like I've rushed through.
It was silly.
I really
We'll have
like
to finish
that.
them properly and then we'll take pictures of them and post them.
What I'm going to do, yeah, is I'm going to upload some pictures to check out the
Yes.
pictures, and we'll have of us using them and actually showing you where we end up putting them as well. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've really enjoyed it.
Anniversary
Yeah.
since we never started working
Yeah.
at home.
Yeah, so thank you ever so much everyone for watching.
Yes.
Also, if you've got any questions you'd like to ask us absolutely anything about the collections, past collections, or anything like that, do give us a shout and we'll get straight back to you, because we love to hear from you and
Yes,
see what you're
and see what
crafting.
you're making as well. I think we love to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so we've got some really exciting shows coming up soon, so watch out for those as well.
Yes.
But thank you ever so much from the iHub in Chesterfield. See you
Thank
later.
Bye.